Hello and welcome back to the channel. About a year ago, we took a look at the top 10 worst rides I had ever ridden. The video did quite well, so why not make another rant video? Today, we're going to look at the top 5 most disappointing rides I've ridden. Now, some of these rides weren't the worst rides I've ever ridden. However, I went into them with high expectations and came out disappointed. Without further ado, let's get started. Starting off at the number 5 spot, we have Van der Veen's Power Wave. This is a Zwaarskaf monster ride from the Netherlands that is definitely one of the best looking of its kind. I had heard many Dutch enthusiasts rave about it, so I was looking forward for trying it at Thunderland Dublin 2022. The problem was I had built up so much hype about it that when I went to Dublin, I didn't realise that it runs a family cycle there. So when I rode it, I came off quite disappointed. It just wasn't as intense as I thought it was going to be. However, the end was quite intense, which gives a teaser of what it would have been like if I had rode it in the Netherlands. I got back on Power Wave at this year's Thunderland, and I definitely enjoyed it a lot more, knowing that it was going to be more of a family ride. And in my opinion, I think Power Wave is one of the best family rides out there. At number 4, we have Macaulay Hart's Wild Thing Tagada. When the Lammas Fair made its first return to Ballycastle after COVID, I went down to go see the build-up and was quite surprised to see Macaulay Hart's Tagada pulling on and building up. At the time, the ride was in its first few months of its new owner, and there weren't that many videos on YouTube of it, but the videos that were available looked like it would be a really good cycle. It was also going to be my first Tagada, and I was very hyped. Well, a 6-minute cycle with a maximum 2 minutes of bouncing was definitely a cycle worth waiting for. I will admit the bounces were quite powerful, however, it doesn't really make up for it when you spend most of the time spinning in endless circles for 4 minutes. Even everyone else was starting to look bored. And the reason for this cycle? Nachos. Yes, the operator was eating nachos the whole time. I would love to give it a second shot, but recently the ride has been snapped up by William Roberts, which probably means it's going to be turned into a D&B mosh pit, so I'll be avoiding it like the plague. Next up, we have the water spin top spin at Dunrail in the Netherlands. For years I've always wanted to ride a top spin, and was very excited when I was going to be heading to the Netherlands to go to Dunrail and experience my first ever one. Unfortunately, it was closed in 2022, however, on my return visit in 2024, it was open, and I was really excited to do it. The only thing I forgot was, it's in a theme park. It's gonna run terrible. For a ride with a 1.4 meter height restriction, I've ridden more intense Miamis. Most of the ride consists of gently swinging backwards and forwards. It really is a shame most theme parks neglect their top spins. You can tell it's got a lot of potential to be an intense ride, but they're just not running it to their full potential. Recently, however, top spins are making a sort of resurgence, with Alton Towers' brand new top spin, Toxicator, opening this year, which looks like it'll be quite intense for an automatic cycle.
Is that it?
Next up at number 2, we have Dane Crow's Extreme. This is definitely the most disappointing ride that visited Ireland. Crow's Extreme has always been well known for its unique auto cycle that looks like one of the best autos yet. So it was one of my most anticipated rides when I went down south to go to Thunderland Dublin. From videos I had seen at the 2021 event, it was running the full cycle. So when I went on, I was expecting this to be a contender for the best extreme I had ever ridden. Well, the best way I can describe this cycle was that it was basically a sizzler that lifted up into the air for about 50 seconds, and it had over-the-shoulder restraints. To call this an extreme is an overstatement. Power Wave is more intense than it, so maybe instead it should be called medium or gentle. Apparently, the reason why the cycle was changed for RDS was the fact that it's very warm inside the hall, and apparently the ride was having cooling issues. In the middle of last year, Crows sold Extreme to the Scottish showman Nathan Smith, so the ride has not been over in Ireland since. So to replace it came in Jonathan Perk's Extreme Power, Spoiler alert, your legs will not enjoy it.
Oh, my legs!
Finally, at the number 1 spot, we have Peter Sedgwick's Hellraiser Waltzer. I'm sure all of you saw this one coming. Back in 2021, I made a trip over to England to go visit Blackpool and Alton Towers. One of the rides I was most looking forward for was Hellraiser. I had heard stories about this waltzer for years, of it being one of the best waltzers in the UK, and after looking at videos of it, who wouldn't be excited? To say it was disappointing was an understatement. I was not prepared for how bad this was going to be. The ride was extremely slow, and to make matters even worse, there was nobody walking it. Combine this with some 70s and 80s breakup music, and you have got one hell of a ride. Hellraiser, you do not have a groovy kind of love, you have a groovy kind of disappointment. Although it was extremely disappointing, I will admit all the other rides on the pier were absolutely incredible. Heck, since when could you find a Crazy Mouse coaster and a Sky coaster on the edge of a pier? Thank you so much for watching today's video. What were some of the most disappointing rides you've been on? Please remember these are just my opinions and this video is all just for a bit of fun. I'm not meaning to slander anyone. Thank you for watching and goodbye.